So one fun thing I wanted to talk about today is the use of ring modulation on dialogue for some fantastic post-production robotic style effects. Ring modulation has been used for many years for robot dialogue, alien sounds. You'll hear it in Star Wars, you'll hear it in Cylons in Battlestar Galactica. Most recently I heard it on Electro's voice in Spider-Man 2. And going all the way back to if there's any Doctor Who fans out there, all the way back to the early 60s for the original Dalek sound. And I think that's probably what it's most famous for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this sounds. I'm just going to modulate my voice, and then I'll talk a little bit about what's happening and how you can apply it in your workflow.
Adjust the mix knob, make it up to 10, turn up the drive, and you can already hear what's happening. Daleks. I'm now going to turn up the LFO, make it on a square wave, put the rate up to 25. Daleks, we are the Daleks, ring modulation. And apologies for what's about to happen. I can't resist. Exterminate!
Okay, so here's how all this works. Ring modulation is a form of amplitude modulation. So what that means is we have an input signal, in this case, my voice. That input signal, that waveform is being modulated, its amplitude is being modulated by a carrier frequency, which I can set here. So what that produces is the sum and difference of the two frequencies, which ultimately creates a complex waveform with the sum and difference of the two frequencies. So as an example, if I was just inputting a pure tone, a 500 hertz sine wave, and set my carrier frequency to 100 hertz, that would produce a complex waveform at 400 hertz and 600 hertz, the sum and difference of the two. And it would also produce a waveform rich in partials, so a lot of added harmonic content. And then on top of that, you have the LFO, which allows you to modulate the carrier frequency, which creates all kinds of wacky effects.
Okay, if we mess with the carrier frequency, we can start to get into Cyberman territory. If there's Doctor Who fans in the house, Cyberman, Cylons. Testing. We are the Cybermen. You will be deleted.
Okay, I'm going to turn that off for the moment. Clearly I'm having way too much fun. But you can see, it's super fun, it's super easy to just get in, tweak the parameters, and you get some wacky style effects. Ideally, if you're looking for an authentic replication of the original sound, i.e. the Daleks, you'll want to get hold of the analog hardware version. But you can get very close with any software plugins that have ring modulation in them. I chose this particular plugin because it's closest to the hardware unit, which I actually own. Okay, so just in case you're here, you're just looking for the Dalek settings, here they are. So on the LFO, turn that to 10, max it out. We want to be on a square wave for the LFO, and we'll turn the rate all the way up to 25. Mix, put that up to 10. Put the frequency rocker on high, and the frequency itself on down to 30. And then the drive, you can adjust how much drive you have. Usually when I use the hardware version, I have the drive maxed out and just have a dynamic mic going straight into the Moogerfooger. And that tends to work pretty well. Let's just test it.
Testing, 1, 2.
Yes, that's working fine. Okay, so there are other ring modulation plugins available. Let me just bypass that one by command clicking. There is one, unfortunately this one does not come with Pro Tools, but there is one that does, and it's under Modulation Sci-fi. And this has a ring modulation in here as well, so you can get similar settings with this one. It also has frequency modulation, and you can get even crazier, wackier style effects with that as well. But I just recommend getting in there, playing with all this stuff, and have fun with it.
very much like to thank Pyramind for hosting me here once again. I think this institution is really cool, and until I came here for the first time, I had never seen anything like it in my whole life.
What I think really separates us from other people who teach is that we are outrageously passionate about what we do, and especially in electronic music.
Since coming to Pyramind, I've discovered electronic music, and San Francisco being a mecca for underground electronic music opened up so many doors for me and kind of blew my mind.
We cover everything from absinthe to contact. When people get to the mind-melting level, we get into modular synthesis.
Everything about native instruments, everything about Logic synths down to the finest detail. We learned it all.
The fundamentals of understanding how things work, that's just essential. But then beyond that, there's so much more, and that's where it gets into just a lot of the artistic side of like the creative approach of why you do something, not just how.
There's a lot of schools that just, they focus on the technicality of recording music, but I wanted something that would foster creativity and really help me develop as an artist as well.
Each of our genre-specific programs comes in 4 levels. There's a basic, an advanced, a professional, and then a master's level. And the master's level is, of course, everything we do. It's the largest and most powerful programs that we can create for you.